We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Stand and say the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, motion to approve the agenda. We've got one modification. We'll add as a discussion item F, athletic director, wrestling group, but we'll put you guys up right after claims. We'll just move you in up so you don't have to sit here through the entire meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the one addition?
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second, Aaron. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Conflict disclosure. It's that time of the year where we each have to fill out our new conflicts. I believe I filled out my new conflict disclosure. I'll turn it over to you, Lori.
Okay, we have 3 conflict disclosures for this school year. They're the same that we always have. We have Dr. Block, because he has a spouse employed here. We have Marty Luenga because he has a spouse employed here. And then we have Tom Sanis for any potential businesses that we do business with that he may also legally represent.
So a motion to approve the conflict disclosures as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public communications, is anybody here for something other than the wrestling group? Okay, we'll get to you guys then after we get through our few of our basic housekeeping things. Motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting on July 8th. Thank you, Aaron. Second? Thank you, Marty. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the financial statements as presented. Thank you, Marty. Second? Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the few amount of claims we have this month as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion? All in favor say, oh, go ahead. I was trying to keep the meeting moving, guys, just for the record.
Just for clarification, all those ones to Dakota Bank, where are those?
Credit card.
Got it. Other than that, I mean, will the busing committee, and I guess I sent you guys an email this morning, just to look at the mileages on the busing to see if there's.
So I sent an email to Kevin and Patty today, asked them if they've revised them. She
Yep.
says that they've taken off the students that they know they're no longer going to ride, and any families that have left. So if you want to sit down and review it, we can. We've left it up to them, kind of on the honesty system. So
Maybe it's a good update time to just update, you know, again, for people that are on the bus routes. I don't want,
Yeah, if you have a child that's aged, you know, into
Aged out.
driving themselves to
you
school.
know they're not going to use it, and you get charged, even if you never
Right.
use it, if it's on the routes. We get charged those miles, so.
So what we would be asking that per se family to do would be to opt off of the busing agreement, and, you know, we could always look at adding them back on if their situation were to change, but we pay for those miles every day, every month, all year long, whether we drive them or not.
Mileage is down
Mileage is up 16 miles. On,
from last year.
on the invoice, on this invoice, it was up 16 miles.
Not bad.
So that's what caught my eye.
I thought they were down.
bottom line is that if you do have somebody that is on the bus route and you will not be using the bus route, please contact, you know, one of our board members in our busing committee is that Aaron and Marty, or, you know, contact Dr. Block or Mr. Case. It's just one of those things that if you're not going to be using it, it's a nice way to save funds in the past, we learned of families that didn't know that was the way it was, and so even though their children didn't use the bus the last 3 or 4 years of high school, they still stayed on the bus route, and we were paying for those routes even though we didn't use them, if that makes sense.
It says right here, plus 16 miles from 2023 to 2024.
And outliers are extremely important to remove
Yeah.
if we can. Those are the ones at the ends of the routes. But even if you're on the route and you're 1 mile off of a normal run, that's 4 miles every day, because it's 1 mile to your house, 1 mile back to the route in the morning, and then in the evening, so that's 4 miles per day.
At $3.38 a mile.
At 172 days.
So it adds up quickly.
So,
Just wanted to throw, it was that time of the year, thought I'd throw it out there.
okay. Anything else as to claims? All in favor, say aye.
Right.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll go ahead and now move to what I called discussion items F, athletic director and the wrestling group. So Nathan, we got a lot of stuff that's going on between football, volleyball, wrestling. Can you just give us an update kind of where we're at, and maybe come on up here just so people on
Sure.
Bearcat TV, they can hear you and see you too.
So our fall seasons are starting up. 25 football players, I believe, out, 9 through 12. We did have kind of a unique thing this year. We've got a Saturday football game. The reason for that was the referee shortage we have in the state right now. And they did ask, the state asked if we could move that either to Thursday, which didn't work because of volleyball, earlier Friday, which is problematic for people working and things like that. The turnout probably wouldn't be great. So we ended up going with a Saturday, 2 o'clock, October 19th, Clarkville Lake. And let's see, the football schedules came out late April, which is the latest. The state does the football scheduling, and this is by far the latest it's ever been. Typically it's, we've had it into February, but a lot of times it's late January. They already have it pumped out. This year it was April, maybe even early May. And so because of that reason, we weren't able to have a home volleyball match the week of homecoming. So I know that can be problematic, but this year for sure it was unavoidable. Dr. Block and I sat down and looked at all the home dates, and nothing really jived for a homecoming date. We do have the track resurfacing going on right now. They've done a really nice job with that. They are completed with the actual resurfacing part. It's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks before they'll come back and do the striping and the painting on that. It is open to the public now. Again, you can go on it. Obviously, no wheeled vehicles or anything like that on there. And they did ask, please don't get a bunch of mud and rocks and things like that if you can avoid that. The paint won't stick as well. So, yes, it is open to the public, but please, if it's a super muddy day and stuff like that, either bring a second set of shoes or whatever. Just be mindful of that. As far as the new potential facility, the committee that's being formed here and things like that, I'll probably turn that over to Coach Wagner over there if you want to just talk about the meetings we've had, discussions, anything like that moving forward.
Yeah, so we just got done with another little short meeting here before this meeting started. We've had, I think this was our third meeting as a group, as a committee, and we have decent turnout here tonight. There's probably another handful, 6 people that are part of the committee that are involved that couldn't make it tonight due to prior obligations, but we got a lot of different people from the community, people from different backgrounds. So we don't really want to be seen as a wrestling specific group, because what we're trying to get accomplished isn't necessarily wrestling specific. Yes, our new wrestling room is part of our plan, but what we're looking for is an upgrade to our athletic facilities as a whole, and that includes a new wrestling room, a new weight room, a new auxiliary gym, all those things. And we're in the pretty preliminary stages right now, but we think we got the right people in place, and we're getting people from different backgrounds and different places in the community to come in and show their support and that want to be a part of this. And now that word's kind of starting to get out there, people are actually approaching us to be involved and be a part of it versus us going out and recruiting and say, hey, do you want to get on board with this? I guess that's kind of where we're at now. We did come up with a name for our group. It's Cats, Continuing Athletic Traditions for Students. We have an identity. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Any other committee members have anything to chime in, feel free.
I know, I got a text from Tom Squires today. He's curious as to the progression of this deal, but I don't have much information to give him, I guess. So I just told him I'd update him after this meeting and whatnot, but I know he's dying to be involved any way possible with the update of facilities. So.
I would really credit Tyler and Spencer. They've kind of taken this thing and ran with it. They've got a lot of good people involved. I think they're doing things in a night. Everything's progressing as it should. I think we're really starting to get this thing off the ground and formed. We are obviously always looking for ideas and things like that. One thing the committee discussed tonight was the potential of maybe doing a town hall and just getting some ideas that way. I know anytime you're throwing a big project out there, it's nice to have public input, or even to hear from the naysayers, or maybe, hey, did you ever think of this? Always new ideas are always welcome. Yeah, outside of that, I think Tyler pretty much hit everything.
I think the biggest thing that we as a committee want to stress is that we're not looking for improvements in one specific area. We're looking at this from an entire athletic department upgrade. Like, yes, I'm the football coach. I am very, very concerned about the success of my football team. I come from a wrestling background. I'm very concerned about the wrestlers and their success. My wife is the volleyball coach. I want the volleyball players to do well. But all my football players are either wrestlers or basketball players. I coach how many different athletes in the spring for track. I have a vested interest in our entire athletic program as a whole. We want as a committee to see all of our teams and all of our athletic programs succeed. And does a big shiny new facility necessarily mean you're going to be good? No, we understand that, but we think we're to the point now that we see these other towns that are doing good things with their athletic programs, and they're upgrading their facilities. We're kind of in the mindset that if we're not growing, we're dying. I mean, Nathan says that all the time. If we're not growing, we're dying. And you can kind of see that based on our success, or maybe lack thereof, in the recent past. And we want to take this program, this athletic department, to a place that it's been. I mean, that's why we called our group the Continuing Athletic Traditions. We think there is a rich history. We know there's a rich history and a tradition in Webster, and there's a lot of pride in the community and in our school and athletic programs. And we want to get us back to a point where we're perennial contenders. We're powerhouses in every single sport, not just football, not just wrestling, not just basketball, not whatever. All the way across the board. That's our main motivation and our goal with this project.
Do you have an idea of square footage that you're looking at as a combined one or two when you say wrestling multi-purpose or auxiliary gym?
Wrestling room would be 42 by 84, correct? 42 feet by 84 feet for two full-size mats, and they're minimum. Obviously, you want a little bit of cushion to play with, but that would be just the space for the mats. As far as
that leave no room for locker rooms, that I guess would be with the auxiliary.
Yes, locker rooms. One thing we talked about would be basically a mirror image weight room, similar size as the wrestling room, maybe not quite as big, as much square footage, but then that leftover square footage could be, locker rooms, coaches' offices, things like that. And then an auxiliary gym, obviously enough to have a full-size basketball court. We think it would be very pertinent to have enough seating in there to where if you wanted to, say a wrestling tournament, have 2 gyms going on with multiple mats, or if you wanted to host a basketball tournament, like Riley pointed out that they just had their big basketball camp tournament a couple weeks ago at the end of the summer. If enough people wanted to come watch and go to the auxiliary gym, have enough seating so they could comfortably sit in there. I talked to Dan Bonte, he's the head coach in Parkson, head wrestling coach in Parkson, and they actually just finished up construction on basically the same type of project that we're looking for. They put in a new wrestling room. It's 42 by 84. It's 2 full-size mats, wall to wall, and then there's like a 5-foot apron on one side of the room where they put kind of their stationary bikes, cardio equipment, things like that. But otherwise, it's very simple but very, very effective. It's spacious enough. 2 full-size mats, and then they put a new weight room in, and their weight room is essentially, it's on one wall they have kind of 7 racks and platforms in front of it, with all the benches, bars, plates, all that sort of stuff. And down the middle, it's wide open with a turf strip right down the middle, spanning the full length of the room. Then on the other side is free weight area, dumbbells, benches, bikes, cardio equipment, things like that. And their auxiliary gym that they put in, which Parkson's facility is really, really nice. For a school their size, it's probably one of the best in the state. I mean, they have a really nice main arena, main gym that they use for their basketball games, volleyball games, wrestling tournament, things like that. And then they already have a pre-existing auxiliary gym that I know I worked there, the wrestling tournament as an official that they use. They put a 3rd mat in there for wrestlebacks and things like that. And then now they added on a 2nd auxiliary gym. And when I talked to Dan and asked him about it, he said that basically if they wanted to host a home wrestling duel in there, they would be able to do that seating wise, which I don't know, not that it would be excessive, but I don't know if it's fully necessary to have that much seating. I mean, that's quite a bit of seating for an auxiliary gym. And he also said that their auxiliary gym's kind of got some bells and whistles that they wanted, like it's got drop-down batting cages, nets that baseball players can use, and a drop-down golf net that the golf team uses, and then a 3-lane walking track that goes around the whole outside of the auxiliary gym, which I thought was that was the one thing that we thought would be kind of a neat idea. I mean, track season, you never really know what you're going to get as far as weather in the springtime. And sometimes you get lucky, you get to go outside right away. Sometimes you're inside till the middle of April. And if you got a decent surface for the kids to run on versus pounding on the hardwood and getting shin splints and stuff.
Are you looking at 1 phase, 2 phase, 3 phases, and if so, location or anything like that area?
I think our goal is kind of 1 phase, get it done, knock it out, be done with it. Location, still kind of up in the air on. There's some debate on that. Couple options as far as funding it. I mean, we're ready to go. We're willing to get out, put boots on the ground, start garnering support, donations, pledges, things like that. We have some different fundraising ideas too.
At a minimum, at a minimum, you'd be looking at least 15,000 square foot. And the walking area would probably be 25,000 square foot or whatever.
I'd say like an 80 by 100 field house would be
8,000.
For the field house, like the auxiliary gym field house area, 80 by 100.
Yeah,
And
and the
then-
wrestling room,
Yeah,
weight room, walking area, the time you get locked,
Yeah.
that adds up.
it does.
Which you can modify. Your wrestling room, you guys got, if you don't, your mats, is this year round? Mats, are they down all the time? Are they rolled up? So if the mats are down in the wrestling room, I imagine you could have PE and such in there. Or is it a single-use facility?
It'd be nice to have it as a single-use facility, yes. I mean, if it's down at the Armory, I don't know if you're taking gym classes down there.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna put 5,000 square feet for a single-use facility, or the multi-use, that's, I guess, my question.
Mhm.
I mean, if that wrestling portion would be wrestling, but the rest of it is multi-purpose.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking like, if it's on this site, during the day, it can be used by the rest of the students in the school. Would it be available for something other than wrestling, or would the mats be rolled up or much down? It's just, I'm just asking what your
Yeah.
thoughts are.
I think it's ideal to have it a wrestling room, and Spencer and Bo can attest to this. The foot traffic that goes through a wrestling room on a daily basis it gets to be an issue. Keeping the mats clean, I mean, it's kind of a health thing for the athletes. I mean, they're rolling around on it, rubbing their face on the mat. Who knows where people walk, where their shoes are,
Oh, yeah.
they go out on the mat. So I think the ideal scenario is to keep it as wrestling specific as possible. It's the wrestling room, use it to wrestle on.
It was thrown out too to maybe make a two-tiered wrestling room, weight room possibly too, and you could have the wrestling room on the second level, which Bo said would probably help with the breathing of the mat and things like that. Those mats need to breathe to combat the fungus and things like that, I suppose, the mold and things, but so there's options. You know, it's very, very preliminary right now, but trying to think of everything.
I think like what I was saying, I can't say it better than Tyler did. I just echo what Tyler said. He spoke very well, but there's something, I think I've probably been coaching here longer than anybody, I suppose, by now, but there's one thing I noticed years ago coming here is started coaching 28 years ago. One word that came to my mind was resources, and Webster doesn't have it. These schools are suburbs of Watertown and suburbs of Aberdeen. When their gym gets redone and whatever, they go to the next gym. They go to 100 different gyms. When our floors get done, or our weight rooms are locked up for whatever cleanings, we don't have anywhere to go. And also, I'm standing for all sports. We don't have anywhere to go. So now we're locked out for 2 weeks or something, or possibly when we're competing with, I've always said that when I say resources, I mean accessibility to the place to go work out, to go play. I 100% believe wrestlers need their own room. And in my opinion, I might be wrong, sorry if I'm speaking on attorney, but they need their own wrestling room. The mats stay down, that's wrestling room. And that's their baby. We need more basketball rooms because as time goes on, we're seeing a lot more events where youth kids are wanting to do things, and we're fighting. I shouldn't say fighting, but we're trying to organize 5th grade basketball tournament, 4th grade. We're always trying to scramble for this, and like we held our team camp this summer and brought in 13 teams. 13 teams we brought in, whatever it was. What a great way to have, maybe I don't know what wrestling rules are, but have a wrestling tournament of some sort in the summertime. Bring in teams and money to their economy to where have a gate where you have to pay to get in, have basketball tournaments for 5th grade, 4th grade, high school, have our varsity has a Dakota Clash in Madison, why can't we have one? And if we have 2 gyms hooked onto each other, I just feel that for years, I think one of the biggest weaknesses Webster had is accessibility to gyms, to spaces, to do things. And we shouldn't have to share them. We shouldn't have to share a weight room, weight room's different, but share gyms and things. Wrestling should have their spot. Basketball and volleyball, we should be able to share together. Those gyms should be used for basketball and volleyball together. Football field's got its own field. I guess if we really want to compete, if athletics is important to people's community, we got to be able to pursue these avenues of trying to get places where kids can do it, and do it well, instead of having to schedule around late night practices or morning practices, or we can't practice today because the 5th grade's got a gym. It's just, I guess, if you look at Watertown, you have Waverly South Shores, and you have Florence's, and you have, you name them, you got Aberdeen, you've got Warner's and Fredericks, and if their gym shuts down for floor cleaning, they just go hop the next town, and they got gym there. We can't do that. And we can, but you're gonna drive 50 miles to go shoot hoops. I just think resources is a big deal, so I can't say it better than Tyler. Tyler spoke very well, but I've always felt that's been a weakness of this community, is we just don't have the access to do some of the things we want to do.
And that's something we talked about as a committee too, is we understand this is a huge project and big undertaking, and it's gonna be expensive, but we think about the potential for this new facility. I mean, if we got 2 new, nice, state-of-the-art gyms, I mean, there's club volleyball and club basketball and summer wrestling, all these different activities that go on outside of their sports season. And like these club volleyball teams, they take their teams down to Sioux Falls or up to Fargo. It's like, they wouldn't need to do that. Come over 45 miles, we can put on just as good of a tournament as anybody for X amount of teams, and imagine the revenue that generates for our programs, for our town. It's kind of, it's an investment in our athletic programs, but in terms of bringing in money, it can be huge too.
I think you look at the long term of it. You can't look at, you always know, don't look at the startup cost. What's it gonna be in 30 years from now? Look at the money we could potentially make in 30 years. It's like people are gonna look at it and go, oh my God, it's gonna cost this much. That's today. What's it gonna be in 30 years from now? Those buildings will be paid off, and now it's money coming in.
Hosting a youth district or youth region wrestling tournament, there's hundreds of kids and families that we would have here paying to use our facilities.
And our location is prime. We are right in the middle of our region, right in the middle of our conference, but we don't have facilities to host some of these.
I don't think any of the board, and I speak for myself, doesn't believe that each should have their own. It's a matter of how to do it. That's what I need to, phases or whatever in my mind or whatever.
Isn't it, which is it easy, I don't know this, you guys know more than I do. Isn't it easiest, I agree with Tyler, isn't it easiest to plan the idea to get it done, shoot it out and get it done? So it's once and done? Is that wrong? Is that? Or
That'd be nice.
You don't want to build a
That'd be
gym and
great
later
if
on
that
build
happened.
a Western room on the top, but don't you just want to build it all in one shot and be done? I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Along the rest of them though, we have male and female. We have 2 mats, of course. Is there any conflict, any problem with male and female wrestling and the 2 mats or anything else?
In the last couple of years.
Apparently, we haven't had any issues. Ideally, we would like to have more participation on the girls' side, and then it would be more of an issue.
Is there anything down the road that has to be separated or anything that you can see?
It's recommended.
It could very well happen, and
It's
we'd have to do
recommended.
probably a split that.
Yeah. If we had just as many girls out as we did boys, yeah, we have to run 2 practices, but we're not in that boat right now. But 5 years from now, I don't know.
I'm curious, did Parkston give you any ideas on how they funded their project? Or-
I asked Dan about that, and he said he was in a very similar position to where we were, where he had all these fundraising ideas, he was ready to go to work and get after it, and they passed the bond.
So I think I've just got a few comments here. Tournaments is a big thing, and whether it's, for those of us that have been in the wrestling situation, you know what those district and region wrestling tournaments, and little kids wrestling tournaments, and our holiday class, they're huge. Volleyball tournaments, I'm sure they could get to be big, and basketball, for all those reasons, it's good. When I just looked in your packet, that wonderful packet we've got, Parkston transferred 275 last year, or 2 years ago, and 313 this year, so they're similar to us, just from that perspective.
549 students.
549, you looked that up.
I looked
Yeah,
that up,
so-
they're the same size as us. What are we,
So we're in a very similar situation, student number wise, and it appears to be budget wise. But what got us, when I pulled in the parking lot tonight, I was excited to see all the vehicles here. We started this process back in 2019. And this isn't anything new, this project is nothing new to this board. We've known it's been coming, we've been, you know, the boiler put us into this situation, and now our insurance is. So for us, it's a matter of figuring out how to fund it. We are doing something with this wing, we have to. Is that a fair statement, board?
Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of which way are we going and how do we fund it? So I just wanted to kind of clarify that a little bit. I'm excited, I think it's great to see everybody in the room, and I wish we could have done this a little sooner, but that's the way it is, but now we gotta put it in overdrive, just like you guys are doing, and figure it out, so.
How do we kind of take that next step?
One more question, just, are you guys working with, what's that, Tom Squires? And so I'm assuming you're working off the same information that we've been provided as a board?
Yep.
So Larry, we've seen those renditions, I guess, right?
That
Well,
was June.
what we've seen was, you know,
Rough draft.
one location only and,
Yep,
you know, that type of thing.
yep. But just so, when I'm thinking about what they're talking about, I
Yeah.
kind of seen that.
There should be a lot more planning on their end,
Yep.
square footage, location, that type of thing, that was put together.
Yeah.
Did his firm do parchment?
No. It's construction bid.
I just curious.
Tyler, you're talking, I guess my thought is, I would like to see like one big complex. Are you thinking, say like, so we're all together, I mean, basketball, volleyball, wrestling's all together, someplace where it's gonna be?
A centralized athletic complex,
A complex.
a home base, if you will, for our athletes.
Marty, you got any comments?
Well, I keep thinking about, here over on this wing, but I can't imagine that there's enough space to do that. And then we're decentralized, like Tyler's saying. It's nice if everything is down in the country.
But probably now we aren't raised with AUs.
Is it really? I mean, when I was a kid, we bussed us down to the armory every day. That's where we only had the high school.
At a cost of $16,000 per year.
But if we want to lock our facility down, it's kind of nice to have it all in one. So it could easily be locked down for the day.
But then are you gonna be able to afford, I mean, if they wanna do throw this out, can you do a wrestling tournament with just 2 mats that you're talking about?
Well, I mean, that's how we run our tournament now, and I can speak as an official. I work all over the state reffing high school wrestling. I made this comment tonight, there's not a lot of 2-mat tournaments anymore. I mean, adding that 3rd mat saves so much time. The fans don't want to sit there for 12 hours, the wrestlers don't want to be there for 12 hours, the coaches don't want to be there for 12 hours. I don't want to be there as an official for 12 hours. If you're running on 2 mats, typically they hire 3, maybe 4 officials if you're lucky. Even 4 officials on 2 mats over 12 hours, you're working your tail off all day. It's 2-mat tournaments there's not many left. And it seems anymore to have a good, decent-sized tournament, a well-ran tournament. 3 mats is almost a necessity. If you want to host a high school region tournament, it is a necessity. They are required to have a 3rd mat.
I'm not trying to throw water on anything or devil's advocate. Are there many open dates for tournaments? I'm not against this, let's turn over all the stones.
Yeah. Every Saturday during wrestling season, I'm gone somewhere. So every Saturday I bet there's at least, at a minimum, probably 4 or 5 tournaments somewhere going on in the state.
Every Saturday?
Every Saturday
So
from,
if you want to get in there, you're going to have to draw from those tournaments also.
But we have a tournament.
yeah.
We have one, and we're looking, I mean, our location's very good there too, where we're drawing from North Dakota schools, Western Minnesota schools are coming over to ours currently. I'll kind of piggyback on Tyler's, we went from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. 2 years ago at our wrestling tournament, and I think that was a big turnout for a lot of those visiting schools.
Aaron, you got any comments?
Well,
How much, do you have any idea like how much you could raise from fundraising? Just with the fundraising that's already been going on, are people gonna be,
We really haven't started asking for pledges and donations, but just the number of people that have approached us, they've heard through whatever means that this is going on, that they have to set a dollar amount, but they said, yeah, absolutely, I'd be willing to help out whatever way I can. I think we're gonna be pleasantly surprised with the support from the community that we get from this.
There's potential naming rights as well, I
Yeah,
think.
naming rights for a wrestling room, naming rights for a weight room, whatever that's worth to somebody.
I want the Tom Sam's bench area. I'm the only one. Tyler, anytime you and I, we'll go. That's right. Yeah.
I look at the money that the playground committee raised in a pretty short period of time. That was awful impressive, and I think on a project like this is a 30, 40 year down the road project, that people are gonna be, they kept this vision, this long-term vision, and I think people, I have no idea what tune that's got about that.
Emily was part of the playground committee, and she said it was, how much did you guys rate? It was almost $500,000?
Yeah.
Relatively easily and
There was great support from the
short
community.
amount of time.
And our committee worked really hard with going out and getting pledges and spreading the word and, giving the community the resources that they needed to know about the project and have as much information as they could. We did tons of research and I think it all kind of came into fruition and the community helped out a huge ton and us committee members, we wanted to make it happen, so we kind of got to work and didn't stop till we kind of met our goal.
I have one final thing, and then as we're discussing this, I haven't heard anything on the fine arts with that group. Has anybody talked to anybody in that group when you talk about one big project? Is that?
I spoke with Doug Olowski last Friday, and I asked him where they were at as far as their group, and he said there'd been no discussion whatsoever. I did kind of say, well, I don't know if you want to put a bug in someone's ear and see if they can get something going, but he didn't know anything, so I'm not sure.
Well, thank you for mentioning that to them.
Yeah.
From the school standpoint, would you want another gym here on site? For PE classes, for whatever?
Ideally, yeah, we would like to have that, but where we
If the wing was gone, there wouldn't be room to put it in there?
Once the 1950s wing is gone, we can obviously, the square footage, who doesn't think it's gone? That space needs to a city. We have that property across the street, that's a very narrow, 75-foot lot. We do have some renditions from 2017 with the Fine Arts facility, in which we actually had an option which extended across the street to where the gamer house used to be, which is the park. And so there are options, but there's some things that have to happen to make those options possible.
But during the day for school, is it necessary to have another gym or not?
Well, we've operated, transport the kids down past, so if that's an option, we want to do it again. Dr. Block said it's at a cost, so.
But right now, how often does your elementary kids use that wrestling room for?
Just when our gym, we can't use it, for example, like the first week, the vinyl flooring is coming in. Concerts.
If we have assemblies, they use it for archery. I think, I didn't put that here last year. But archery can be done upstairs. It's also upstairs. There are a lot of questions to answer, and I think one of the questions is, where are we at 20 years from now? I know there's a lot of folks that are, the Armory is the Armory. It has been necessarily for years. Most of it, Brady Park's didn't go there, so yes, it's attached to the high school. You're seeing that trend happen more on the west side of the complete campus, but I don't know if we're prepared for that.
Dr. Block, would parking have anything to do? I mean, I'm not fighting for either where it's located. I said, let's say this was added on to our building now, it's one neighborhood parking meetings, let's say do hold a tournament, there's this many cars coming. Is parking an issue versus either location? Would it be an issue? So you bring in, have a tournament of 15 teams coming in or something, is that going to be an
If
issue?
you put a significant addition onto the Armory, especially on the north side, which is the rendition that we saw, half of that north parking lot's gone.
I guess I'm thinking more neighborhood, I guess. Same thing, is there an issue of parking down the streets? Is there going to be an issue of parking down these streets? Because people are going to have to park a long ways away, either location, most likely, I'm assuming.
You know, I'm gonna just throw out right now, the good news is, we're not deciding anything tonight. You know, I mean, and I'll let you go, Larry, so you said you had your last thing, so I kept quiet tonight, so I'll let you roll. You roll, Larry, and then I'll go.
No, when you said parking, I'm thinking number of kids that drive today, how many cars? Give you an idea of what we have here for parking. The drive to school. They're parked on each street.
Oh, you definitely need parking lots.
We have 160 kids in high school, probably, I don't think it'd be crazy to say that we have 140 that drive to school. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but.
I would say besides your tournaments too, on the regular, just the, you know, 2 teams playing, I think live streaming's taken away a lot of the need for parking on most nights. Now I know that, you know, tournaments, that changes and things, but your day-to-day, your regular season, I don't think parking is quite as big an issue as it was 10 years ago. I think you lose 25% off the bat, but they're gonna sit home and watch Bearcat TV.
I think we actually paid your parking lots, put online for a lot more cars in the parking lots. We can see that, it's quite evident when you see a snowstorm under our Walmart, people parking. It's kind of the same scenario in the course of the weekend. So as we do talk about parking, I haven't looked up the square footage, but I think there's a lot of parking. It's something we need to do. Kids just can't.
Well, I'm just, am I okay now? All right, thanks, Larry. All right, I'll just close this thing out. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, as Joel's already said and the board has said, for everybody showing up tonight. I mean, this is a big undertaking. It's not something that'll be solved in one night, one day, 1 week, 1 month. This will take time. And I think it's like a lot of the projects Webster's done in the last 25 years, a lot of people didn't think the baseball diamonds could be done to the way they were done. That the swimming pool couldn't be done, the CTE wing couldn't be done, the football field couldn't be done, the track couldn't be done. You know, you go right on down the list, and Webster has done a lot of things in the last 20 years. And I think this is something that if you get more involved, I like your name, CAPS, Continuing Athletic Traditions for Students. You know, make this more inclusive versus exclusive. Make sure that we are including the wrestlers, the volleyball players, the boys basketball, the girls basketball, the track, the football, the cross country, all of these individuals, like you said, if they're playing football, they're probably playing boys basketball or they're wrestling, and then they're doing track later on. Same thing with our volleyball players, they're doing girls basketball, they're doing track, they're doing cross country, they're doing something else around the globe. I think you guys are doing a great job. I think the key thing is you asked the question, Spencer, what is next? And I think what you need to have is the ability where your group is coming a little bit to a consensus, where you'd like to have us, at some point in time, we will need to invest in an architect to give us more than just renditions, no different than what we've done in the past. You know, architects are fine to give you kind of their ideas and some renditions, and and the 2-cent version, but if you really want to get down to brass tacks, you have to pay it. And in order for us to make determination, all of these questions, what are the costs? If you put it here, can you do a performing arts center still down the road somewhere? Is there enough room? Is there enough parking, or are you going to be parking still at the old baseball fields, down by where you live right now, Spencer, and walking that far? All of those questions are going to have to be looked at. I think that the answers can come up over time. I do think that if you want to work hard on the fundraising, that is a good idea. It is amazing when people in the community step forward with their funds, how much easier it is for the rest of the community to get behind it. And I think Webster's got a really good tradition of being strong fundraisers for whatever the project may be. So with that being said, I think continue to work within your group. I know that you are working with Architectural Inc. to get a couple of their ideas. I forget Tom Squire's group. They want to eventually put together proposals as to what would take it to the next step. Then that is something that you could bring to the board, and that we could eventually make a determination as to an architect that they would want to choose to go forward with this project. I think that would probably be the big next step. I hope that helps you out. I really do appreciate everybody coming, even if you didn't talk. It's just nice for us to know, and for the newspaper, Bearcat TV, everyone else within the community to know this is a strong group. It's got a lot of different players, diversity in the group, and I look forward to seeing what you can come up with. So,
regardless of what ends up happening, the wrestlers are going to be displaced for a while. Have you figured out what's going to happen there?
I had a question on that. Is that for our group to come up with where the wrestlers go when the old wrestling room gets torn down? Or is that on the school to figure out?
Well, that would be for our athletic director, in my opinion. That's more for him to come up with some ideas to bring back for the board as to those positions.
So after, just to update you guys, after it was the June meeting that they found out the 50s wing was for insurance purposes was going to have to go.
July.
Was that July?
July.
2 to 3 days after that, I already had Coach Roush, Spencer, Tyler. We had quite a few people going around town looking for potential places to have it, and we've thrown out some ideas. I mean, we went everywhere. And we're open to ideas. Nothing has been set in stone at all, but there's some of the ideas so far have been like the batting cage, the elementary gym. We even went and measured the Masonic Temple, which is too small, but we've gone several places just to get measurements and stuff like that. Nowhere is going to be ideal.
Right.
Okay, and that's just, it won't, I'm going to be honest with you. But we're going to make sure that you have what you need. And I think that's fair, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons we came. I don't even remember where I heard it. That's one of the reasons I came was to talk to you guys a little bit. I don't remember. I heard a couple weeks ago. I heard rumblings that we can just share the armory. It never worked. The wrestlers would hate it. The basketball would hate it. We have 20 to 30 kids on a team, just like you probably do. And you pull that curtain shut, and I do a lot of fundamental drills, right? So I split up kids on six hoops with 5 kids on the court to get their reps in. Now you got a curtain there. Your wrestlers are going to hear my whistles, my barking. I use the shot clock a lot, the scoreboard, I'm doing scenario things like we're down 10, how do we catch up, and we kind of scrimmage it out. And you're going to hear honking and buzzing. And they're going to hate hearing us. We're going to hate hearing you guys on their side. I've heard that we should just share it. And I'm here to tell them that it's not good for wrestling. It's not good for us to do that. We can't. It's horrible that they might get that wrestling is going to get displaced possibly.
Well, the building itself is, the armory could be used 3 or 4 days a week, depending on how many home games there are, where you guys practice. So I don't know that that's
it doesn't just displacing one team. It doesn't help to displace 4 more after that. It's going to affect the girls' basketball practices, boys' basketball practices, wrestling. But now all 3 are scrambling, trying to figure out when they get to use it. Now you're practicing at 10 o'clock at night, rolling mats up every single day, then unrolling them. I'm support wrestling. I understand what's going on. It's not good. They lose their spot. I don't have an answer for it.
I'm going to correct you, Burge. What's going on is good. We're trying to give the wrestlers the best facility we can.
I mean for the time being, when they possibly have to get displaced for a month or 2 or something, I'll be there to help you to move something but to share a venue with somebody is not gonna benefit anybody. It's gonna back up for everybody. I mean, I don't even know if that's true. I just kinda heard rumblings that was a possible option, and I'm here to tell him and everybody else that it's not, one team maybe having a problem doesn't help affecting 3 more teams. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? I'm there to help you and support you. I don't know what the answer is, but that's where we're sitting at.
I was even up measuring the old library, the old, whatever, third story library in the city hall, just to see if that was, I mean, so we're aware, I mean, it's on our radar, we're gonna try to get ahead of it.
And it's not an ideal situation, so it's all the more reason for people to support this committee and what we're trying to get accomplished. Get the ball rolling a little bit.
I will add in, and I did say I was done, but I want to remind everybody, this is an issue that was forced upon us more with insurance. You know, that 50s wing has been there since the 50s. It was able to be insured, no problem, for 74 years. They've let us know they're not going to insure that wing anymore. That puts the whole entire school at risk. The number of insurance companies that we have a chance to contract with are 1. I mean, it's just the nature of insurance in the state of South Dakota. So this was an issue that, like Joel says, it's good we're confronting it, but how the process goes apart is a little bit outside of our control. And that's why it's good that we had the 50s wing. Can you imagine right now if we were saying, no, okay, next year, we don't have ag, we don't have FCLA, we don't, or you might be saying the acronym wrong there, but FACTS, excuse me, thank you, FACTS program. Imagine if we were saying that we weren't going to have anything more with Bo Larson, we were still going to have him down at the old vocational school, and we were going to be losing our wrestling facility. So I'm glad that we got the CTE put together. I think this is a good thing for us to be planning. And Joel did bring up a good point at our last meeting. Hey, if we can put off the demolition of that side as long as possible, keep the wrestlers in there this year as close as we can to the last possible moment. You know, let's buy ourselves a year, but let's start planning now so that we can get you in somewhere as soon as possible.
If we can do that, don't take your foot off the gas pedal with
absolutely.
this project. It has to happen.
Playing off what you said of the wrestling room being demolished, I'm thinking more along the lines of the youth wrestling. The high school wrestling is done in February, but the youth wrestling goes to the end of March. Do we have an assurance that they won't be displaced mid-season?
We can't assure, we can't guarantee.
And this board has nothing to do with it.
No, and I understand that, but as the Booster Club board, we need to know if we need to start planning where are we gonna put 50 little kids.
Yeah, what I can tell you is that I think this group, I mean, we've always, I mean, it's like Larry said at the beginning, we're all for this. We want to try to figure out how to make it
Right.
happen. You know, working with Nathan, you know, that's the guy you have to hit up. That's the athletic director. That's who's going to bring the recommendations back to us. We still want to work with you as much as possible. Can we guarantee it'll be the end of March? No. Could it? Possibly. I mean, you just never know with the weather, with the contractors. When we bid it, you don't know who the contractor is that's going to get it. And if XYZ company comes in and says, March 1st, we're starting, you know, we're going to be at the mercy of that company.
How much notice would you get then in that scenario? Like, how much notice do we have to
Well, I
find
don't
a
think
new
this would be like
location?
48 hours. I think.
Well, no,
I
I'm saying.
think you'd have like 30 days, because we're going to have
Okay.
probably, I mean, maybe 2 weeks at the shortest. I mean, if something happened that was extremely favorable, but I think at least 30 days.
And just,
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for the little kids. They put in a lot of work too. I get that they are a club sport. They have nothing to do with the school, but that's where the high school program starts. Most of the kids who go to the high school program are little kids wrestlers first. We don't get very many that just step out one day and like, hey, I'm gonna wrestle. We do, we have, but typically they start at that little stage, and I just hate to see the high school program smothered out in the early stages because parents, well, they don't care about these little kids, so we're not going to take them to practice. Forget wrestling. You know, that I'm just looking at them. So do we need to start making plans for this season to find them somewhere else to go if that would happen mid-season?
I personally hope for the best, plan for the worst. So in my opinion, the right answer would be, we should have contingency plans in place so that if, the kids had to move March 1st, you had somewhere in place, whether it be Roslyn, whether it be a different spot here in Webster, wherever it is, I think it is good to have those contingency plans in place. Just know that you have a partner within from the school, that we are trying to work with all groups involved to keep you, what's the word? To keep the pain level or the comfort level, to modify as much as we can. At the same time, we got to look after the taxpayers' dollars, because if we can save money on a good demolition cost, well, that's going to allow us to put money towards this project.
Right.
When do you think you'll set a date to open those potential bids? Like a January meeting? A February meeting?
First you'd have to advertise, there wouldn't be anything happening before that spring.
Well, right, but by the time you say your bid.
Advertise, you can be advertising for bids and.
Right, that's why I'm just.
We're non-renewal, that's what we gotta look at, April 1.
So I think,
Something in place April 1.
yeah, you're gonna be probably, don't hold me to this, but speculating, we'd be bidding this in November or December? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Because I would rather bid it, if we bid it early, we're gonna have more, usually you get more competition with
So
your
at that
bidders.
point in time, would you put in the stipulations that they can't start before March 1st? That way you at least protect the high school athletes?
I would tell you this, that the issue I have, if I put in those stipulations, then usually my cost goes up. I would rather see what our bids come back and what their time frame is, and then see if we can work with the winning bidder to see if we can put it off to March 1st. I mean, the number one thing from the school's perspective is going to be cost for the taxpayers. And that's just gonna be the fact on that.
So as we're moving forward, everything we want to be looking at is cost for the taxpayer?
Good, Bo, you know what, I can play good legal games and word games, but let me be clear with you on this, Bo. When it comes down to tearing down the wing of the 50s wing, we're not gonna want to expend, if we put out there and make the bid very specific and narrow, more likely than not, we're gonna get a higher cost, okay?
I understand that.
We want to work with the options. The best thing I can promise you is there's not one person on this board, in my opinion, that is actively working against you. We're working to try to find the most cost beneficial program for the school. So yeah, would I say that I would look after the taxpayers if it was a difference of a week? Yes, you will hear me now say that right now. I would.
Because I just don't want to be displaced in the game. If spring breaks early and it's state tournament week, that really kind of stinks.
Yeah, I
It
don't
would.
want our athletes to have a place to
And would we
practice.
want to do that? No, but nobody here today can, number one, do I think that's gonna happen like Larry said? No. But would we be remiss to make a promise here if all of a sudden somebody came in and, let's say that bid did save us $100,000, can we find somewhere for a week? What if it was that situation? I would tell you that $100,000, I'm gonna listen to you.
Well, and not to put the cart ahead of the horse either, but usually by mid-February, we're pretty much through with all of our home basketball games. The Armory would probably be available anyway, and then you could roll out the.
And we've got the Roslyn Gym. I would say this,
The curtain.
work on the
This-
contingencies.
Well, late in the season, 2 weeks.
We're all in it together. I don't wanna play, I don't ever wanna play word games.
2 weeks.
I don't either, but I don't want to be displaced in the game. That's just unfair.
I get that. Nobody
I
wants
get that.
Nobody wants to displace it the week before the state tournament. I would never say that.
And
But I
that's-
think we gotta do what's best for the long term of the schools. All right, anything else?
So I do have a question, so if we were to have to go to Roslyn, are they gonna be bused back and forth from there?
I would say this, tonight, we're not making any decisions on that. We would have to know proposals. We'd have to just
Right.
know where we're at before we make any decisions.
I can tell you that all the
Would that be an
basketball
option?
players that go to Roslyn,
Right,
they ride the bus up and the
Yep.
parents get them.
my kids do that already.
But like for the high school students, if the high school students are going to Roslyn for practice? Is the school busing them, or are they responsible of getting themselves there and back?
Right now, I know we've had practices in Roslyn with the high school sports. Jared, have you ever had a bus go up where the kids always gotten themselves there?
The young kids carpool the older kids, and we go.
And then who's liable if there would be an accident or something? Is that the school? Is that the driver? These are just things I think about.
And I'll just, we were just talking, if this were to come down to 2 weeks of the season, or I have 2 weeks left.
Yeah, I'm just talking worst case
I'm willing to share
scenario.
the gym for 2 weeks. If I have to, I'll make it work. I'll make it work with you guys for 2 months. It's not going to be good. But for 2 weeks, if something happened, you guys got kicked out, there's 2 weeks left to my season, 2 weeks yours, I'll find a way to make it work for, we can all work that onward together if we have to. For
And that's all I'm asking.
I'll bend over and I'll back out and we'll get you in there and help you out. If it's 2
And
months,
that's all
what you
I'm
need.
asking is worst case scenario, we don't want to be scrambling trying to find gym space or who's taking Johnny up to Roslyn and how's Johnny getting home. I'm just looking at parent side of it.
There'd be time to prepare too. I think we'd have a pretty good idea, probably.
What about the elementary gym? Why isn't that in the conversation here? That's what
We've said
decided
that
in
elementary
July
gym
meeting.
every time.
Our basketball
I
plan.
agree with keeping
It's
it
third grade
basketball
here.
scheduled in the, through December.
But wouldn't the high school wrestling team have precedence over the third grade basketball team? I mean, I'm in favor of keeping the wrestlers in town versus going out of town because we already have kids coming from Waubay here and then they got to travel another for a practice. So,
Well, and that's why we're not going to
Right,
resolve the problem
exactly.
tonight. That's
It's
why
just things
we
to
want
think
you
about.
guys to do your homework, do your due diligence, and come back with proposals through Nathan. I mean, again, he's the athletic director. That's what his job is, and then we are going to listen heavily to his advice and then make a decision. What's in the best interest of the students and the district? All right, with that being said, if you guys don't mind, we're gonna keep moving on. Thanks for coming.
thanks for having
Thank you,
us.
everybody.
Thank you. Motion to approve the handbooks for 2024, 2025. Thank you, Aaron. Second. All in, discussion.
We had brought this to you last month. There really weren't any significant changes. Added a non-discrimination statement that was for recommendation from the law. It does school law. For the high school one, we removed the credits that's for dual credits. It was something that state put in place, and then there were some big schools that didn't like it. There were a lot of smaller schools that didn't, so they reversed it. We had it in there, so we followed suit with what the state wanted to do. We've since removed that. That's the second highlight that I have. We didn't have the breakfast times in the secondary handbooks, or the breakfast times that are in there. You guys had it in yours. And that's it for the secondary.
I think the only other change that I had was we had a couple of kids call home when they were sick without going through the office or the nurse's station. So we just incorporated that into saying that they had to go through the office or see the nurse before they are directed to go home. That was it, other than what Dr. Clark did. Yes. Other stuff is minimal and dates and not much for changes.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve out-of-district busing agreement. Can this be one motion?
Yes.
And I believe this year we have, make sure I rattle off the towns right, Waubay and Langford, correct?
Yeah.
And Groton?
What are in there? The two
We have
others
an
we have are
agreement
Waubay
with
and
Groton.
Langford. What?
We have an agreement with Groton.
I
We
just-
go into Bristol and Bristol belongs to Groton.
I just think about it like for the next.
Okay.
They would approve ours over there. We don't get one from Groton because they don't come in charge.
I did notice that Wabae's is reciprocal, Langford is not. But I don't know if that matters or not.
Is that? that language is my language. I'm the one that started all of this when the law went into place.
If you're good with it, I'm good with it.
Our letters that go to them is reciprocal, and it's only reciprocal with the districts that cross over. Wabae comes into our town, we stop at one stop. Langford and Webster should be reciprocal as well, because we do go into Eden, and they also do.
First of all, let's get back to, I got a motion, so we make sure we have that. There, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, thank you, Larry. Second? Thank you, Marty. All right, any other discussion? All in favor to approve the two letters as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. For the contracts, is it an individual, Lori, or can I do?
Separate.
Separate, okay. Gentlemen. Motion to approve the contract for Samantha Wagner, assistant volleyball coach. Thank you, Joel. Second. Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract for Vanessa Bloom, junior high volleyball coach. Thank you, Marty. Second, Aaron. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract for Amanda West, high school administration assistant. Thank you, Marty. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Joel. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract for Jennifer Keller, football cheerleading advisor. Thank you, Aaron. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Joel. Discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract for Madison Roush, assistant volleyball coach.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second. Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the TASC plan per the packet that you received. This is our annual motion for the employee flex spending accounts. Thank you, Marty. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion? It is a good program. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Food service procurement bids, individual?
Nope.
Okay, motion to approve the food service procurement bids with Performance Foods as primary, U.S. Foods as secondary or based upon availability. Other vendors will include Prairie Farms for milk, Earth Grains for bread, and Coal Paper for supplies.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second. Thank you, Marty. Discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to update the procurement plan, which there are no changes this year.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second. Marty, I thought I heard you say you did it. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve Jared McClure as volunteer football coach.
One motion.
Okay, and Matt Bumgarn as volunteer football coach. Thank you, Aaron. Second, Marty. Discussion?
We're very lucky to have them guys helping out the program. They put a lot of time into it. Thank you for that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve food service price change, adult breakfast to $2.85 and adult lunch to $5. Thank you, Larry. Second. Thank you, Aaron. Discussion?
This is the food service application that I have to turn in every year. It was the requirement that each of those had to be raised by 5 cents.
So we were required to raise, even though we voted to leave them the same
Yes.
in July, we're being forced to raise
Yes.
them a nickel.
Just
I just
the
need to get
adults.
that up here.
I know you like that, Joel. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the innovative equipment grant bid from Anatomage Inc. as to the digital dissection table with 3D imagery and 8 interactive handheld devices.
So moved.
Write that all down. There you go. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. We received a bid, the total bid was $92,500. Any other questions?
On the bid?
Only bid?
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the bid from Moss Enterprises as to a virtual heavy equipment simulator with active seat bases for a forklift, skid steer, excavator.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second? Thank you, Larry. Discussion, we had a total bid of $125,195 bucks.
It's okay, Marty.
Marty? Sorry about that.
Marty, all right.
Sorry, Larry, too. That's all right. Hey, we're trying to get through this thing now.
Yep, you're good.
All right, so any discussion on that one?
On the bid?
Yes.
Yes.
It's got an active seat base.
And we're within our
Any pictures?
budget funds
Well, hey, Mike.
grant.
Yes. The grant was written specifically for budget similar to this. And we've since learned that it's a sole source products. There's only one company that makes them in our state.
So they get put in.
They have to. Simulators are very similar to
All right, all in favor of that one? Say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to accept the maintenance agreement as to Johnson Controls. I believe that was presented to us last month. And this is, a determination on whether or not we want to proceed with that today.
I look at this as kind of like an insurance form. Making sure. We don't have any.
34,000?
25, I think. But we had also discussed taking some of the stuff out of there, like the filter replacements and,
And did we find out any information?
So I contacted local companies to see if they were interested in this. They're not interested in this. The size and the scope of it is not something actually. They have the time to take care of the business. They're also not into commercial as much. So both KMI and North Star. With respect to the filters and things like that, Lori says we can take some out. Most of the filters that we have in this particular plan are filters that we were hoping they would replace because of the original channel. There are some that we can probably consider doing ourselves. It's just one of those things. It's
In this proposal, with the demo possibility and some other, we're kind of up in the air about just what's going to be done. Then in the past, do we wait a year? Then we can hands on what we need to be done. Well, the proposal was up to 24,000 something. I wasn't clear on what this furniture about.
we're going to spend money with Johnson Controls. We can, if we can get our custodians to do as many of the filters as possible, we certainly do that. And then have Johnson Controls to do the absolute perhaps that's the route to go. I think Larry's got a good point with the 50 speed. There are some units. I don't know if the 50 speed is included in that. One of the issues that's going to come up here is the units in the middle school are all on this is called the air. bringing the infrastructure from downstairs in the boiler room to a ground level floor, that would come up. And it was suggested by more than one person, mainly the maintenance person from the technician from Johnson Controls, and said where those units, to change them over to an electronic system and put them on the management system. You're going to have a lot of issues with them because they are 34 years old. They're all original too. And I didn't think about that until he said something like, "No, Aaron Jesse won't say that." But he's the one that works on it for us. And I believe he's a quality technician, but he's pretty certain we're going to have some issues with communication and things working properly because they're 34 years old. It's a change traffic. There's some different things with. So we've got that issue to possibly contend with that. Engineering portion.
And not to begin to have problems, we have had some problems pop up.
So waiting, I don't know if it's detrimental for us to wait. We do the best we can. Replace the filters if we're able to have them work. But there's just going to be, the demolition of this building is going to be, it's going to be significant. I don't mean significant cost, but there's a lot of pieces in the parks. And I think there's going to be some domino effect that occurs in some areas.
I share Larry's concerns when it comes to this. And I just would like to see us somehow be able to utilize the money that we're spending on that, try to keep it within our district. Even if it's within our building, somehow to use that money to pay our people to do some of that work. And at the same time, I don't want to put you guys in hardship having to make these decisions. And then, I just think, in my opinion, I'm going to vote no, and I'm going to say let's roll with the punches and see what happens. We got to pay some service calls, so we.
Warranty, as I understand it, we did a substantial completion in November of last year, so warranty on most of this is going to be done. I could be wrong, we can check that, but that's my recollection.
That's right.
And that's specifically on the HVAC, boilers, and all of that stuff, because that project actually started far sooner than it did this. Because we were moving into where the old office was.
When it comes to that stuff, how often do they pull maintenance on it? I mean, this is like, it says maintenance agreement, so do they come in and check it every month, or they?
It does say a frequency, it'll say, certain things will say twice per year, some things will say once every quarter, those types of things. So it is listed as to what is supposed to happen.
But that contract doesn't cover fixing anything, it's just them coming and doing maintenance. If something does go wrong, we're still paying to
We
do
still
that.
have to pay that.
What? But the maintenance agreement isn't gonna cause us to not do without heat. If something breaks, it breaks, right? I could be completely wrong here, that's just my 2 cents.
Well, it's always good to do preventative maintenance, but when you change the oil in your pickup, right? Or you just drive it till it blows up. But, what cost?
But the belt on your pickup, I don't expect that when I change my oil, when it goes out, I put new one.
But you look at the belt and change the oil.
Sometimes. Not. There's a reason why we kicked this can for 3 meetings.
Larry, where are you at? No. Aaron?
No.
Okay. Marty? All right. We didn't have a motion to even approve it, so right now it's a DOA. Okay? one of the things maybe we should look at in the future, just spitballing here. I mean, I like the idea what Joel's saying about having people within the district. Is there, and I understand we've already contacted Dr. Block and they don't have the manpower to do the business. I don't know if there's a way for us to look, and I'm just saying this is an idea in the future, to maybe us putting together smaller, specific contracts that we could do for independent contractors for, you know, like a proverbial individual that had worked at the school for 20 years and then decided to retire. You know, like, let's say we had the Mike Ninke of the world, or, you know, say Mr. Nash, said, hey, you want to have one thing and that's all it is checking out these filters for us. Would you be interested in that? Maybe that is something that we might have to be looking at as a school district, as to these individual projects. And just speak with, you know, say, hey, is this something you would be interested in?
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe, you know, again, just by talking about it, you know, we might get some ideas. Dr. Block or Mr. Case, you know, from the community, we might be surprised with what we come up with. Okay. Motion to approve open enrollment application number 2505, and is that the only one?
No, we had another one come in after I sent the stuff out. So I'd like to approve
2506.
both of them.
Yep, 2506. Thank you, Larry. Second. Thank you, Joel. Did you say that, Aaron? Or did Larry say that?
I didn't say it.
Oh, that was Aaron. I'm sorry. I keep giving it to you, Larry.
You do.
I'm sorry, buddy.
You're his favorite.
All right, so motion from Aaron, second from Joel. Discussion.
Is this, and I know this question probably can't be answered, are we tracking the same as our previous years? I mean, plus project enrollment, number 5 and 6 in August, is that usually where we're at?
No, we're usually up, but you can't really go by that because this doesn't necessarily mean it's new students moving in. It could be, I mean, like these two are, but you know, depends on the kindergarten and they already have families here, so.
Okay.
But if you look at the overall picture, you know, of what total enrollments we have each year, yeah, we're about the same.
Okay.
Yeah, on the list that I have, I have 10 new in, 9 out.
Not open and roll west.
New.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now on to discussion items. One has for any more motions. Dr. Block, Superintendent.
Lori, Title IX policy is not on the agenda.
Discussion item for first readings, remember?
Yep.
Oh.
It's down there. It's coming.
So what are we discussing first?
Your
Well,
notes.
whatever you
All right.
want. You can make it as short as you want, Dr.
My
Block.
notes, I just have the back to school barbecue, which is Thursday night from 5 to 7. It's always a good time. It's mostly attended by elementary and middle school, but we do get some high school kids, they get their Chromebooks and things like that. So it's a busy night, it does make for a long day, but it's actually a very, very productive activity that we have. So we've got that on Thursday evening. We had new teacher orientation and new staff orientation this morning for about 3 hours. Tomorrow we have in-service with the entire K-12 staff in the morning, and then staff meetings for the teacher and para part of it. Wednesday is a non-contract day for our staff, but they are able to go to Northern State University's back-to-school seminar that they have. They always have a national speaker come in and speak. I've never been disappointed with the speech that they've ever had, so that provides them an opportunity for some, you know, revitalization, get back into school, and it's typically a good opportunity for them to do to earn some credits for whatever they want to do like that. And then Thursday, we do have, who's coming for training?
We have our behavioral specialist that we co-op, the Northeast Ed Services co-op, main co-op out of Marshallville.
Southwest West Central Co-op.
So she'll be in talking about classroom management, just briefly, hour and a half on Thursday.
And then I have it in discussion items for my stuff. I have it under action items M. The Title IX training is the third thing that I wanted to mention. Mr. Case and I went to training in Aberdeen a couple of weeks ago. Basically, the training for that was to give us a good, strong foundation background in the regulations that are associated with the 2024 version of Title IX. We were working on the 2020 version. And it's, basically, we need to update our Title IX policy because I did page for page and paragraph for paragraph comparison, and it's a significant enough change that we're utilizing information from KSB Law. That's the company that was putting on this Title IX information training. So it's their recommendation that we go with the policy that they've drafted. Associated School Boards, as far as I know, does not have a policy available for us yet, and I didn't want to wait too long because we're talking about a first reading in August, second reading in September. We'd like to get the policy in place. And so it's also very possible, depending on the election in November, that some of this may change within the next year as well. I can be honest with you, Chad, I'm getting frustrated with the back and forth and a lot of the information that we receive from the federal level. To me, a lot of the Title IX stuff is behave nice, answer yourself type of thing, and everything will be fine. But there's just been a lot of changes, and it's difficult to keep up with it. And unfortunately, because of that, I think we do have to rely on legal counsel to do their jobs to figure out this is what you need to do and this is what you need for policy. Because I just don't know that we have the resources or the time to keep up with that and to make sure that our policies are appropriate. So that's where we're at. We've included a copy of the policy in your materials. It's great reading, as you can tell if you didn't read it.
It's not great reading.
You know, and you might think that it's a very extensive policy in the number of pages. Well, the one that we approved in 2021 to meet the 2020 regs was like 2 pages shy of this. So it wasn't like we went from a 2-page policy to a 14-page policy. We did that back in 2020. So,
Not relying on that.
Well, it is a big deal. This is a big policy. Thanks, Floyd, and I did read it. And I think that KSB Law, I'm not familiar with them. I did research as to who they are. I think they put together something that is usable. I mean, you actually read that policy, and I think you can understand what your positions are and how the process is supposed to work. So it would be nice that it's a shorter policy, sure, but that's just not going to happen. So I'm okay with that policy as you guys have put together. I think that KSB Law, they're not here in South Dakota. There was a couple firms, and there was one firm.
They do have an office in Sioux Falls.
But they're primarily out of Lincoln. And first firm, there was a firm that was trying to do some law stuff here in South Dakota. They're not doing it anymore. This firm is not associated with them. And I think these guys are doing a better job.
When I think these folks are, I'm not saying they're drumming up business, but they are looking at a need that we will have in South Dakota. A lot of the law firms or lawyers that represent schools, they're aging. And, in Aberdeen, Huron, there's not a ton of young, nothing against our current, Rodney is our current lawyer, and but Rodney's got to be judged. He's in the upper 70s. So he's not going to be around forever. And so there will be a need for some established legal firms to take care of some school law issues for us. They're fitting that bill.
Okay, anything else, Dr. Block?
That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Questions for Dr. Block?
Let's see, is there a $2 charge for the back-to-school barbecue?
Yep, we doubled it last year. It was a $1 for many years, but it went to $2 last year. And so, yeah, it's $2 for the hot dog meal.
It's pretty cheap. All right. Principal report, Mr. Case.
I have updated class numbers. Do you guys want to hear them? Just rattle through them quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Preschool, we have 11. That has gone down just because some kids got accepted into the Head Start program. Pre-K, pre-kindergarten, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is 7. Again, just backing up, preschool, remember, is Tuesday, Thursday. Kindergarten, the big class, 53. First grade, 45. Second grade, 41. Third grade is 39. Fourth grade, 43. Fifth grade, 36. Sixth grade, 35. Seventh grade, our lowest class at 31. And eighth grade, 46. So that's current numbers right now.
I give you, the high school is 44, 37, 46, and 41.
And is that 9, 10, 11, 12?
9, 10, 11.
So 41 seniors, 53 kindergartners coming in, that's good math.
Yeah, just keep in mind, if we didn't have a pre-kindergarten program, it would be large class, 60.
Oh, yeah.
Riley, pretty large class. Playground update. They finished out here by the swings. Did a great job. Dakota, the lead guy working for Mammoth was great. He would call and update me on a lot of things. They put in that sensory path that's out there. So that's finished. They do have 2 guys. Nobody's working today, but tomorrow they do have a few guys returning tomorrow and the next day. So if you've been by the turf field, they will look at filling in around the turf field so you don't have that big drop off. So they have the rise in the turf field, they have the drain tile, the couple of rains that we had, it drained really well. So they got the turf on, the lines on. They actually cut out the green part of the turf and then put in the white part. And they glue it, hot glue. Because Dakota told me first that they were just going to sew it, and he said they were doing it, so I guess they sewed it afterwards.
I saw a guy stitching, and I thought, what a long process.
So that fill will be in there to level it out, that transition going up to the turf. They'll also plant grass around there too.
I wonder, will they cut down that erosion control plan?
Yes, they would. And then I asked them just to keep the kids out there, if they can rope out those sections, but leave a path and get out to the turf field because I want the kids to use it. Of course, we'll have a football or a ball going out in that grass, but hopefully they won't attract it too much. They will sweep off the asphalt out here. I asked them to do that to make sure it's clean. They started to get some of the equipment out today, actually, as some guys returning. They have a whole bunch of excess turf out there, that will be gone. So they're wrapping things up.
What will they do with that?
That, Dakota said that they will keep, and if they need to replace some of our turf, they'll come back and replace it. And I know they work with a different school district, and they're really good about coming back and fixing things for a pretty good price. Hopefully it's not too large.
See, south side of the ag wing, that sand, are they cleaning, who's cleaning that?
South of the egg wing.
There's sand and gravel.
Towards the playground?
Yeah, south of the CT wing.
So Mike Minky is going to take the dirt and level that out.
Yeah, the sand that's there and stuff, it's next to the building and all that.
Yeah, that's
See-
part, I believe it's part of Mammoth.
Okay, they'll see that too or whatever, or,
You know, big question, I should call Janelle and see how far they're coming.
yeah.
To my understanding, it's only going to be like 10 feet out from the
Yeah, I mean, it's all the way up to the building where they have gravel.
And if they don't do it, I just
Double through, whatever.
really have to do it.
I'm just curious if they're gonna, before they leave.
I will know more when he shows up. I don't think he's coming tomorrow. I was warned that they don't speak English tomorrow, but the English speaker guy will follow it.
Because on the west side of the sidewalk, that's a sandbox, right?
Sandbox, but then when you go further south, there needs to be more filled.
Yeah,
Quite a bit.
I'm talking east of there.
Okay.
along the CT wing. I think they dumped the sand here that they filled with, and they dumped, you know. So the sand is.
Right. Yeah,
Down,
I
but it's
still
still.
need to check on that. And if they don't or not,
be nice. I mean, if they dump sand on it, they should clean it
Well, I
up.
think,
I bet it's part of the contract, they're moving stuff around.
well, I think the sand was that sandbox, did Ronald do that sandbox?
Yes, he did the
Is
sand.
that who dumped the sand there? I don't know who dumped it there. I know, I saw the invoice, the sandbox.
There is a potential for an additional cost for like a concrete skirt where the asphalt and turf starts on that west end. It's not a very usable situation. They thought we planned to put tripping hazards and things if we didn't sharp like his plan. And so we did contact Bob Morris about that. And maybe we can also swell, so we take the water, it's a drain in the street instead of one.
You'll do that before the school starts.
I don't know, I actually didn't follow up with them yet, but that was about Thursday when you talked to him.
I think so.
Because you were on Friday, and so he told me this. So maybe that was
I've heard a lot of compliments about it, Mr. Case. I mean, the group that you had working with, make sure you let them know that the board appreciates everything they did, because I've heard a lot of people in the community comment and they like it. One of the questions I have for you, do we want pets on this area?
No.
I think we need to put signs, yeah, this is not a dog park, and I'd ask that if hopefully Bearcat TV gets that out, and the Reporter and Farmer gets it out, that, you know, really pets need to stay off this area. This is where kids are gonna be playing and rolling around, and it's not a dog park or a cat park.
I do have 2 signs up, but I need to get some more.
I think it's a really good point.
Because I think I've seen quite a few dogs now when I've driven by.
Yeah. No pets allowed.
No pets allowed. Okay, anything
No
else,
wild
Mr.?
animals allowed.
What's that?
No wild animals.
No animals, period. All right.
Yeah, pictures coming up right away, August 27th, 28th, and we got teachers in, and we're getting ready, we'll be ready.
Any questions for Mr. Case? Thank you, Mr. Case. NESC? Okay, great report. Buildings and grounds?
Obviously, our building, if you walk around our building, looks great. The custodians have done a great job. The inside of the building is ready to go. We didn't get some of the landscaping done yet this summer. Still have that on the agenda. Hopefully, we'll have it. But for the most part, things are ready to go. With respect to the electrical review and structural engineer review, structural engineer part, I don't know what we're going to do with that. The electrical part might drive some of that. They have started to correct a lot of the smaller things that were in red ink that needed to be done immediately, including things all the way from the elementary, the kitchen area, from the cafeteria, and coming towards this. Did have some conversation with one of the electricians regarding the box inside the box. It's on the stairway going up on the stage. That one's an interesting situation. I've heard from 2 different electricians. One was way older than me. I've never seen anything like this before. So those are some of the things that we're kind of red on and we need to take care of. I did express my personal thoughts on this, is that, and I didn't mean to speak for the board, but I was saying we need to figure out a way to isolate the lights, the 2 dehumidifiers, and the unit, the HVAC unit that keeps the resting. We need power to those. Anything else down there, as far as I'm concerned, we don't need lights. We do not need lights on the stage. It's a storage area, it has been for 20 years. We don't need lights in certain parts of that facility. So, and same thing with the outlets. There's a bazillion outlets on the stage. I don't think we need any of those personally. And so that was my goal, is to, can you guys figure out how to power these things and get rid of the questionable boxes, old fuse boxes and things like that. There is still a possibility of some cost involved with that beyond what we think we already have. So I don't think electrical boxes are very cheap. You have to start redoing some wires, so I want to minimize that as much as possible. He was going from there to downstairs to the boiler room, and I did not speak with him after that, so I can't give you an update as to what issues we might have to face immediately for the boiler room. Again, my personal opinion, if there's a way that we can put together a mechanical plan to bring back infrastructure up to a ground level floor and do it as soon as possible in a facility that already exists and that will exist in the future without. So I'll keep you as updated as possible. It's it's going to be an interesting project.
Okay. Anything else for buildings and grounds? Title IX policy, we kind of discussed that. We have our first reading tonight. Any other questions or comments? All right. Next board meeting is Monday, September 9th.
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Thank you, Aaron. Second. Thanks, Marty. Got it right finally at the end of the meeting. See you next month.
There's JV football that night, Aaron.